The traditional succession system of Chinese dynasties was primogeniture through the principal wife, meaning the first son born to the king's official queen inherited the throne. However, Duke Xian of Jin favored his concubine, Li Ji, who used various schemes to sow discord between the duke and the crown prince. Ultimately, her plots led to the death of Crown Prince Shensheng, planting the seeds of the state's downfall. This episode continues the story of the spring and autumn period in China, the turmoil of Li Ji. In 651 BC, Duke Xian of Jin died. She supported Li Ji's son Xiqi to ascend the throne, though Xiqi was only 11 years old. Minister Li Ke and General Pai Zhengfu, wanting Chong'er to return and become ruler, led their followers to kill Xiqi. She then supported Juzi, the son of Li Ji's younger sister, who was only 9. Li Ke again led a group of ministers to kill Juzi. Seeing the situation was hopeless, Li Ji drowned herself. She also committed suicide. After killing Xiqi and Juzi, Li Ke convened a meeting to discuss inviting Prince Chong'er back to assume the throne. The assembly elected Li Ke to draft a petition, which was sent to the state of Di. When Chong'er received the petition and saw it was signed by over 30 people, including Li Ke and Pai Zhenfu, not Hu Tu, he gathered his followers for discussion. Wei Shu said, "The ministers at court support you, my lord. You should return and inherit the throne without missing this opportunity." However, Huyan disagreed, advising, "The state is in chaos right now. Although Xiqi and Juzi are dead, their faction still has many members. It's easy to return, but leaving again will be difficult." Chong'er followed Huyan's advice and politely declined the envoy, saying, "I offended my father and fled into exile. Now that he has passed, I am deeply grieved. Currently, I truly cannot return to assume the throne. I thank everyone for their good intentions and ask for your understanding." Li Kui then asked the officials, "If we cannot secure Prince Chong'er, what should we do?" Someone suggested, "If Chong'er won't come, we should invite Prince Yiwu. A state cannot be without a ruler." Others opposed inviting Yiwu, arguing Yiwu is greedy and cruel. How could he be a fitting ruler? A greedy man often lacks integrity. A cruel man often lacks conscience. Such a person ruling would bring disaster to the people. With everyone talking at once, no decision could be reached. Duke Mu of Qin's wife, Mu Ji, was Duke Xian of Jin's daughter. Hearing of her father's death and her brothers fighting for the throne, she feared her homeland would perish and tearfully begged Duke Mu to help Jin. Duke Mu comforted her, "Do not worry, I will certainly do my best." At that time, Yiwu coincidentally sent an envoy to request Duke Mu's help in returning to Jin to claim the throne. Duke Mu had the envoy lodged in the guest house and convened his ministers to discuss assisting Jin in establishing a ruler. He asked, "Jin is in internal strife. Yiwu has sent a request for us to escort him back to rule. We have an obligation to help Jin establish a ruler, but between Chong'er and Yiwu, whom should we escort?" Jiangshu said, "We could send envoys to Dian Liang to offer condolences to Chong'er and Yiwu. Assess the situation and then decide." Duke Mu adopted this suggestion and sent Prince Zi on this mission. Prince Zi first went to Di to see Chong'er. After presenting condolences, he hinted, "Why does the prince not hurry back to handle the funeral affairs? This opportunity should not be lost." Although diplomatic language, the implication was clear. Whoever gained a major state's support and returned first would seize the throne. Those late would miss out. Chong'er understood the subtext but replied, "My father has just died. I am overwhelmed with grief. I sincerely thank Qin for its condolences." He said nothing more. Prince Zi then bid farewell to Chong'er and went to Liang to see Yiwu. Upon meeting the Qin envoy, Yiwu earnestly begged for Qin's help to return and become ruler. He said, "I previously sent envoys to Jin. Our ministers, Li Ke and Pai Zhenfu, have already agreed to my request. I promised them that if they help me become ruler, I would give Li Ke 1,000,000 acres of land north of the Fen River and Pai Zhenfu 700,000 acres east of the Fen. If Qin escorts me back and helps me become ruler of Jin, I am willing to give 5 cities east of the Yellow River as gratitude. For you personally, I have 40 yi of gold and 10 pairs of white jade discs as gifts. It's not much, but it expresses my sentiment. I beg for your help." Throughout the audience, Yiwu did most of the pleading. Upon Prince Zi's return, he reported truthfully to Duke Mu. Duke Mu said, "It seems Chong'er is more upright. Should we escort him back instead?" Prince Seo disagreed, asking, "My lord, are you thinking for Jin's benefit or Qin's? If it's for Qin's interest, it's better to help install someone of poor character. An unprincipled person, once in power, will only care for personal gain, and the state will be poorly governed. Qin and Jin are neighboring states. A weak Jin means a strong Qin. This benefits us." Finding this reasoning sound, Duke Mu decided to escort Yiwu back to Jin. In the meantime, Yiwu had also sent a request to Duke Xian of Qi, who agreed to support Yiwu as Jin's ruler. In 650 BC, Duke Mu of Qin sent Bailey Shi and Gongsun Zi with troops to escort Yiwu back to Jin. King Sheng of Zhou and Duke Xian of Qi also approved Yiwu as Jin's ruler. Thus, Yiwu returned to become the ruler of Jin. Duke Hui of Jin. After becoming ruler, Yiwu thought, "My goal is achieved. I need not honor the rest." The lands promised to Li Ke and Pai Jiangfu were not given. The 5 cities east of the Yellow River promised to Qin were reneged upon. When Gongsunzi, who had escorted him back, presented the written agreement to claim the 5 cities, Duke Hui said to his ministers, "I made that promise only to secure the throne. Besides, Jin wasn't mine then, promising it didn't hurt. Now that Jin is mine, how can I bear to give away land for nothing?" His favorite minister, L Yixing, agreed, "Just don't give it. Let's see what they can do." Li Ke said, "You promised, so give it. Breaking your word immediately after taking the throne is unwise." Shi Rui glared at Li Ke and said, "Giving 5 cities would mean losing half of Jin. Was our territory so easily gained?" Li Ke retorted, "If you knew it wasn't easily gained, you shouldn't have promised in the first place." Duke Hui strongly disliked Li Ke's words. L Yixing and Shi Rui seized the chance to slander Li Ke further. Even fabricating lies, Li Ke is just venting his frustration because he didn't get the land himself. As Li Ke was about to speak again, Pai Jiangfu secretly tugged his robe, and he said no more. Duke Hui of Jin was a capricious and ruthless man. When he desired the throne, he had begged Li Ke and Pai Jiangfu for help, promising them 1,000,000 acres and 700,000 acres of land respectively as rewards upon success. But now that he was ruler, he not only refused to reward them, but sought to kill them instead. He first had Shi Rui devise a plan to imprison Li Ke. Then, feigning concern for the state, he berated Li Ke, "Personally, I should thank you. Without your help, I wouldn't be here today. But as a minister, you killed 2 rulers in succession. How can that be tolerated? Besides, being your sovereign is far too dangerous." Li Ke retorted, "Didn't you beg me in every way to do this? Without deposing the 2 previous rulers, how could you be here today? If you wish to punish me, any excuse will suffice." After executing Li Ke, Duke Hui sent Tuan Ye to use counterintelligence to kill Pai Jiangfu, Kiru, Gong Hua, and 7 other ministers, believing them all to be part of Chong'er's faction and a threat to his rule. After Pai Jiangfu's death, his son Pai Bo fled to Qin, where Duke Mu took him in and made him a senior official. By killing one group of ministers and driving another into exile, Duke Hui temporarily secured his throne, as domestic opposition dared not act. Yet only 4 years later, in 647 BC, Jin encountered a catastrophic famine unseen in a century, leaving granaries empty. Desperate, Duke Hui considered borrowing grain from neighboring states. He thought Qin was the closest, with convenient land and water routes, and had enjoyed bumper harvests for years, abundant with grain. But he had offended Duke Mu of Qin by reneging on his promise of 5 cities. How could he now ask for a favor? He confided this to his favorite minister, Shi Rui, who said, "Why hesitate? Try it, we lose nothing. If they lend us grain, good. If not, we have an excuse not to give them the 5 cities." Duke Hui thus sent Minister Qingzang with a letter to Qin to borrow grain. Upon receiving the request, Duke Mu convened his ministers. Pai Bao was the first to speak. Yiwu was a tyrant who unjustly killed ministers and ruined Jin. Not only should we refuse grain, we should send troops to remove him. Jianshu objected, "Yiwu is bad, but attacking when his state is vulnerable is improper. Sending relief grain is better." Bailey, she agreed. Jianshu is right. Natural disasters happen everywhere. Jin's people are starving. We should help them through this. We act not for Yiwu, but for Jin's commoners. Duke Mu concluded, Yiwu broke his word, but Jin's people are starving. I cannot ignore their suffering because of Yiwu's faults. He ordered large quantities of grain shipped to the Wei River, loaded onto boats to float east to the Yellow River. Then upstream to the Fen River, and finally to Jin's capital, Jiang. The grain boats stretched end to end for hundreds of miles. Jin's people, deeply grateful, brought food and drink to welcome them. This was the famous campaign of the grain boats. The following year, 646 BC, Qin suffered a poor harvest, while Jin had a bumper crop. Duke Mu told Jianshu and Bailey Shi, "Now I understand your wisdom better. Fortunately, I listened last year and sent grain to Jin. Otherwise, we couldn't ask them for help now." Paibo warned, "Yiwu is greedy and untrustworthy. He may not sell us grain." Duke Mu said Yiwu has his faults, but surely he wouldn't go that far. "I'll send an envoy to buy grain for disaster relief." He sent Lingxie as envoy with gifts to Jin to purchase grain. Upon hearing the request, Duke Hui convened his ministers. Shi Rui sneered, "If you give Qin grain, will you also give them the 5 cities? Don't be foolish, attack them while they're vulnerable. We're sure to win." Qingzeng objected, "Attacking during a disaster is inhumane." Han Jian added, "He's right. Last year during our famine, Qin sent grain to help. ... Before he finished, El Yisheng interrupted, "That was Qin's foolishness. Now heaven gives us a chance we mustn't miss. Let's join with Liang to attack Qin, promising to split the land. Liang will surely send troops." Duke Hui, always swayed by El Yixing and Shi Rui, summoned Qin's envoy Ling Zhao and said, "We had a famine last year. This year's harvest is small. We have no surplus grain to help you." Despite Ling Zi's repeated pleas, Duke Hui refused. Shi Rui even mocked him, "If you want Jin's grain, you'll have to send an army to take it." Fuming, Ling Zi returned to Qin and reported to Duke Mu. Jin's rulers are infuriating. Refusing grain is one thing, but they insulted us. He repeated Shi Rui's provocative words. Duke Mu was angered but said nothing. Then came reports. Not only did Jin refuse grain, they're sending troops to attack us. Enraged, everyone resolved to fight Jin. Hearing of Jin's invasion, Duke Mu left Jianshu and Yu to assist the crown prince in governing. Ordered Meng Mingxi to guard the western border against Rong attacks. Appointed Paibo as vanguard. Gongsun Zi to lead the right army, and Prince Zi the left army. He personally commanded the center with Bailey, Shi, Qishu, and Bai Yi Bing, leading 400 chariots to meet the enemy. At Hanyuan they encountered Jin's 600 chariots. Duke Hui of Jin flaunted his power. I may lack skill, but at my command, 600 chariots advance. If you don't admit defeat now, once we fight, you won't escape even if you try. It's not that I love war even. If I wanted to retreat, my officers wouldn't allow it. Hearing Yiwu's arrogance, Duke Mu sent Gongsun Zi to reply. When you wanted to return as ruler, I escorted you. When you needed grain, I sent it. Now you want war. How can I refuse? Duke Mu then recounted Jin's ingratitude and aggression to his soldiers. Furious, they declared, for justice, we'll fight Jin to the end. Meanwhile, Duke Hui's execution of ministers and betrayal of Qin's kindness had demoralized his troops. Qingxing advised him, we broke faith and provoked them, leading to this war. Now, we should apologize and seek peace to spare the people suffering. Duke Hui erupted in anger. A great state like ours apologized to Qin. You're sabotaging me. He ordered guards to execute Qingzang, but ministers knelt and pleaded, my lord, calm down. Executing our own general before battle is ill-omened. Spare him and let him atone through merit. Duke Hui relented. He then sent Han Jian to scout Qin's forces. Han Jian reported Qin's numbers are smaller, but their morale is higher. Displeased, Duke Hui said numbers are what matter. Morale is intangibly ignore it. Besides, with their famine, how can they have morale? He ordered the advance. The two armies faced off at Longmen Mountain. Duke Hui rode in a chariot pulled by small horses, newly gifted by Zheng Petit, and beautifully coated, his favorites. Just before entering battle, Qingzang again advised him, my lord, the chaos of war is not like a leisurely carriage ride. You should use horses trained in our own state. They understand commands and respond to handling. These newly gifted foreign horses may be beautiful, but they may not obey reliably in combat. Though well-intentioned, Duke Hui grew angry. How dare you dictate what horses I use? Hold your tongue. The Jin and Qin armies faced each other. War drums from both central armies thundered. And instantly, soldiers engaged soldiers. Generals clashed with generals. The Jin general, Tuan Yi, relying on his great strength, charged alone into the Qin formation wielding a solid iron spear weighing over 100 Jin. Sweeping it sideways, he cut down swaths of Qin soldiers. Fighting with increasing fury, he moved through the enemy ranks as if unopposed. The Qin general Bai Yi Bing rushed to engage him, and the two fought fiercely. Exchanging spear and blade strokes over 50 rounds, neither gained an advantage. These two tiger-like warriors fought with growing ferocity, each determined to win. Finding combat from chariots unsatisfying, they shouted, leaped down, discarded their weapons, and grappled to capture each other alive. Locked in a stalemate, Tuan Yi declared, I'll fight you to the death alone. Anyone who needs help is no true warrior. Bai Yi Bing retorted, I intend to capture you single-handedly. Needing assistance is no mark of heroism. Fists and feet flying, they wrestled out of sight behind a grove of trees. Duke Hui's chariot encountered the Qin general, Gongsun Zi. Hui ordered his attendant Jiaputu to engage. But how could he withstand Gongsun Zi, whose courage matched 10,000 men? Forced to join the fight himself, Duke Hui drove his chariot forward. His team comprised of newly gifted foreign horses unaccustomed to battle. Panicked when Gongsun Zi raised his weapon with a thunderous roar. The terrified horses bucked wildly, ignoring the charioteer's commands, and after a frantic dash, plunged the chariot into a muddy swamp. Despite the experienced driver Shi Buyang's whipping, the horses and chariot sank deeper, stuck fast. In desperation, Duke Hui saw Qingzang leading troops nearby and cried, Qingzang, save me. Qingzang galloped past, shouting, I'll block the enemy ahead and send Guaxi to rescue you. Before hurrying onward, meanwhile, the Jin general Han Jian was battling Duke Mu of Qin. After 30 inconclusive rounds between Han Jian and Xiqi Shu, who protected Duke Mu, the Jin general she led a flanking attack, pinning Xiqi Shu in a pincer. Though fierce, Xiqi Shu couldn't fight two generals simultaneously. While turning to engage Yishi, Han Jian stabbed him in the left arm from behind. Xiqi Shu collapsed in pain. At this critical moment, the Jin general Liang Yumi arrived with reinforcements. Surrounding Duke Mu completely amid cries of capture him alive. Exhausted and seeing the encirclement tighten, Duke Mu sighed to heaven, heaven is unjust. That I should become Jin's captive today. In this extreme crisis, a band of about 300 warriors charged on foot from the northwest, disheveled, bare-shouldered, wearing straw sandals, and armed with broadswords and bows. They fought like demons, cutting down Jin's soldiers indiscriminately. As Jin troops scattered, Han Jian and Liang Yumi prepared to engage them when Qingzhang arrived from the north, shouting, "Generals Han and Liang, our lord is trapped in a swamp at Longmen Mountain. Rescue him now." Abandoning the fierce band, they turned their chariots toward Longmen Mountain. But upon arrival, they found Duke Hui had already been captured alive by Gongsun Zi. Han Jian stamped his foot. Too late. Had we known, we might have captured the Qin ruler for an exchange. The 300 warriors rescued Duke Mu and Xiqi, delivering them to the Qin central camp. Qin's left and right armies pursued the retreating Jin forces, inflicting a major defeat. Corpses piled like mountains at Longmen Mountain. Only 20 to 30% of Jin's 600 chariots escaped. After delivering the rescued men, the warriors turned to leave without a word. Duke Mu urgently summoned them, asking their origins. Their leader replied, "We are mountain men from the north." Duke Mu asked, "Strangers, why risk your lives for me?" The man said, "My lord, have you forgotten? We are the mountain men who stole and ate your horses." Duke Mu suddenly recalled the incident from years earlier. During a hunt on Liang Mountain, several horses were stolen at night. Officials found a group of fierce-looking men roasting horse meat around a fire, but dared not confront them. Upon hearing the report, Duke Mu had sighed. "In famine years, hunger drives men. The horses are eaten. Let it be. How can I kill men for loving horses? But eating only meat without grain harms the body." He then sent them food and wine. Deeply grateful, the men had said, "A ruler with a conscience, who understands the poor." Duke Mu sighed. These so-called wild men know to repay kindness. While Yiwu forgets duty for gain, how can he be respected? Gratefully, he offered them official posts. They clasped hands, declining, "We are mountain men, unfit for office." When Duke Mu offered gold and silk, they refused it all, bowed, and departed. After the battle, mustering his generals, Duke Mu found Bai Yi Bing missing. A soldier heard groans from a pit, where Bai Yi Bing and Tuan Yi were still locked in combat. Having rolled in during their struggle, exhausted and nearly unconscious, they refused to let go. Soldiers pried them apart and carried them back. Duke Mu personally visited Bai Yi Bing, who could only gasp, unable to speak. Admiringly, Duke Mu said, "Both are tiger generals, true heroes." Learning the Jin warrior was Tuan Yi, and valuing talent, he considered enlisting him. But Pai Bo objected. No. He killed Juzi and Li Ke, and worst, betrayed Pai Zhengfu, Qiru Gonghua, and 7 others through deceit. Everyone hates him. How can you keep such a man? Duke Mu ordered Tuan Yi executed, and Bai Yi Bing returned home for medical care.
As you can see, historical China was made up of countless small states that fought endless wars against each other, gradually emerging into the China we know today. Over these thousands of years of integration, countless fascinating stories unfolded. I am a Chinese high school student, and in my free time, I create this video to share the stories that find most intriguing, thought-provoking, and fun stories that will help you understand China better. If you're interested in China, have any questions about the country, or need travel tips for an upcoming trip, feel free to leave a comment under my video. I'll do my best to reply as soon as possible and provide whatever help I can. Thanks for following and liking.